welcome everybody to the Blue Collar Bros podcast. We're here with a special guest, Terry Pitts. Terry, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where you from?
Yeah, so I graduated from Niles McKinley in 2006. I currently reside in Girard. Spent a little bit of time there as a kid, so it was a natural place to fall back on. I'm raising my son, and obviously I spend time with my wife there as well. So, we enjoy it. I hope to represent this area the best way possible, being somebody who can hopefully, shine some light on the area and be a positive influence around here.
Okay. Now, Terry just wrote a book. So what's the title?
It's called The Crosswalk.
Okay.
Yeah, it's obviously vague. You're not going to know exactly what you're reading before you get into it. But
yeah, I saw the cover and stuff. I like it. I like how it could be anything.
Right, and there's a lot of symbolism on the front. Obviously, the deeper you get into the book, you understand, the meaning of all that. But I purposely went vague on the cover and the name because I didn't want the reader to really have, a heads up about what they're getting into. I do think it's such a general theme and message that once you get into it, you'll understand what I'm talking about, but I didn't want to limit it to one genre or anything like that.
Okay. And now how are you selling the book?
So right now it's all direct through me.
Okay.
I've obviously been doing some promotion via word of mouth and, some social media. My Facebook page is under construction right now. My biggest presence is on Instagram, which is at Terry D. Pitts Author. And then I have a blog as well, which is on WordPress. So it'll be terrydpitts.wordpress.com. Honestly, I enjoy the direct, interaction with people. I wrote this book for the average 9-to-5er to enjoy it. If a book reviewer doesn't like it, I'm still going to sleep at night.
Yeah.
My goal is for somebody like us who's punching a clock and really just needs a good message into their life. If they enjoy it, then I view the book as a success.
Cool.
So it's been pretty much directly through me so far.
That's something we forgot to do with Joe. I like to try to plug the socials early. So do you have any other socials that you
So I'm on, my personal page is on Facebook just under my name. It shouldn't be hard to find, but I did create an Instagram strictly for me as an author, and then obviously the book's highlighted on there as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to give us a little insight about what the book's about?
Yeah, so, it's rooted in sports, which is, between Joe and I, that makes perfect sense. But it's rooted in sports, but at the end of the day, I think it's a redemption story. I think it's something that, any of us could find ourselves in the same situation, given the right conditions. It is about, an elite high school athlete who sees himself destined for great things down the road.
Is this fiction? Is this nonfiction?
It's fiction. It has, elements of nonfiction. Obviously, you'll hear certain things that, are true now.
Yeah.
But there's no truth to it. It's all just a fictional work by me. But it's a redemption story at its core. An elite high school athlete is, like I said, he's destined for greatness until life kind of smacks him in the mouth, and his life kind of takes a different direction. And then down the road, he makes some better decisions, and he puts himself around the right people, and he turns his life around for the better. It's not without its twist. My goal is to make you drop the book at some point and try to collect yourself. But again, it's sports related, but I think the message is so general that anybody can get something out of it. I really do think so.
Okay, so just listening to what it's about, do you envision this maybe becoming a movie?
Well, I'd be lying if I said as I was writing it that a screenplay, I think it could accompany it pretty well.
Yeah, because I feel like just listening to it, the world needs a good sports movie.
Yeah, well,
it's been a long time, I feel like.
Yeah, and as I was writing it, I could almost, as I'm writing it, I can vision it in my head. Not certain actors by any means, but just seeing it play out in real life. Yeah. It's so real and it's so genuine that we could all envision it because it's probably happened at one point in time or another. It's not so far-fetched that, a movie would be unrealistic.
Cool.
Yeah. Have you ever thought of who the main character would play?
Yeah, you had to think about it.
Yeah, because what?
Who do you see? Do you see yourself as the main character?
You know what? It has aspects of things that I've experienced in my life. The character himself is a little bit different than me, and I didn't want to make it so obvious for anybody buying the book saying, okay, well, I see why Terry made this guy this way because it's just like him. I could see like a Tom Holland as the main. Okay. It's a high school quarterback, so obviously he looks the part for that, and I think that his acting chops would make it work too. But
he's
I
huge
think
right now.
yeah, I think I can see him doing that. Yeah, it's a pretty good story for him.
Okay, what was so I'm just like fascinated with even the process of writing a book,
Yeah.
right? Because I don't write much. I'll write like a little blog every once in a while, but actually sitting down and just, do you type it all out? Do you go old school with a pen and a pad?
So I'm old school with the pen and a pad.
Okay.
In the beginning, anyway, I get the initial idea down. What I try to do is come up with how I want it to end first, and then I build up to it.
Okay.
So then I say, here's the end destination, and here's how I'm going to get to it.
Is it all in your head, or do you just the endings kind of there, and then you?
The ending's there, and then to be honest with you, one chapter just kind of led to the next.
Yeah.
So I knew, hey, this is my character, and once I developed the lead character, and I knew what was going to happen to him, it was easy to introduce other aspects and say, okay, well, here's how he's going to get to it because this is going to happen. This is going to happen. It's not organized in any way, shape, or form. I would like to sit up here and say, yeah, I knew it was exactly going to go this way. I'm a perfectionist, so it's probably never going to be like 100% what I want it to be because I'm pretty tough on myself. But, you begin with your main character and where you want him to go, and then you kind of just building blocks until you get there. So it was one chapter leading to the next, and me being lucky enough to come up with a cool idea every other chapter and seeing where it landed. So.
How long did the whole book take you?
I'd say from the time I first started writing on a piece of notebook paper up until doing this podcast right now, about 1.5 years.
Okay.
And that's with a full-time 9 to 5 and a wife and a kid. You know what I mean? It's if without all the other factors, it might have been 6 months, 4 months. Who knows?
Long, man.
No, I think and really I just got on the roll. I'm the type of writer that once I get going, I could knock out 3-4 chapters without really even picking up my hands.
So did you find yourself like knocking out big chunks of the book at one time, or was
and everybody thinks I did it during COVID and just waited because that would have been the natural time to do a book. You got nothing else to really take up your time, but I always kept the pen and paper with me. So as I'm going about my daily life, if I had 15, 20 minutes, half hour available, I dedicated my time and energy to that because I had a vision for this. I had good ideas in the past, but the Crosswalk is the first one that really I thought was good enough to see through to the end. And then once I got to, I'd say chapter 5 or 6, I said, I'm too invested in this guy now. I got to get this to the end. I can't just walk away from it. So, when you have, as a dad and a husband, when you have time, you make it count.
Did you lose any ideas?
No, because that's where keeping the pen and pad with you at all times works. I've had times where I've woken up in the middle of the night and I'd be thinking about something maybe before bed, and I have a quick dream and it came up as a good idea, and I'm writing it down before I lose it, because you will.
I've lost more stuff than I can even.
My dreams hold a lot of good ideas that I forget.
Okay, so was there any driving force behind the book, or is this just something that you have kind of dabbled in for a long time, just writing stories?
Yeah, so, coming up through high school and at YSU for some time, I was an English lit major, so this was obviously something that I had an aptitude for and I enjoyed doing. Ultimately at YSU, I went down a different path at some point, but it was always something I enjoyed doing. And like I said, I had good ideas in the past, nothing that I could really, I just kind of, not got bored, but I just didn't think I had enough to really see it to the end. Honestly, when my son was born, I kind of just kicked it into gear because I knew that, he's 6 now, and I know he's watching every move I make, and I'm the biggest influence on him. So I think that he's going to do what he sees me do. I need to show him that, if you put your head down and work hard, good things seem to follow. So I knew that he would see me working on the book, and I very well, in a year or two, can't turn around and say, well, Dad didn't finish it. I need him to know that when you start something, you got to finish it, and you got to work hard, and, your luck's better when you work hard.
Yeah.
So when he's watching, I make it count.
Yeah.
A
little bit of added pressure.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever hit a block? Like where you just went with a span of time that you just couldn't come up with anything?
Yeah, you know what? I would say it was probably at the midway point. So there was a point in the middle of the book where I just said, I don't know which direction I'm going to take to get to the end. And then I was having conversations with Joe and other people in my life that kind of just said, do what's natural to you. What do you think would happen here? And just through, obviously I got feedback from people who I trust. We keep a small circle of people that we trust to get feedback from. And then once it became clear, it was almost just like I filled the tank up and we just kept rolling. And then after I got through that sticking point in the middle, it was, just a matter of time before I got to the end. So,
How long did that block last?
Yeah.
well, obviously life responsibilities had a lot to do with it. I would say there was probably like a 2 to 3 month period where outside responsibilities on top of me just not knowing where I wanted to go with it kind of just combined for me to put it on ice for a little bit. And you know what? I think it may have been the best thing that could have happened because I didn't want to rush it and then just say, I'm just going to get a book done just to get a book done. I think I would rather wait and get it done right than just rush to be a published author because, my goal was accomplished. If I don't sell one more copy, I feel like it's a success because I put pen to paper and now I have a published copy. So it's already a success, but I think that the block in the middle actually ended up giving me a better book because I did it right instead of rushing through it.
So did your college experience prepare you to write a book? Or was there like YouTubes that you had to watch or forums that you had to get on to try to figure some things out?
I think...
Or is it pretty much natural for...
it was more natural than anything, only because this is just my experience, I won't speak for all college lit and all that stuff, but what they did wasn't so much just about doing what you want to do as a writer. It was, well, can you read this book and know what they're talking about to pass this class and then to eventually get your degree? With me, I would have benefited more in college from just an open writing class. Write about what you want to write about. But mine was mostly just doing it on my free time and not getting basically out of writing shape. And then it led me to just staying sharp as far as that goes. Most of my benefit was just through writing constantly and not letting yourself get out of the groove as far as doing that.
You said you write a blog?
Yeah.
What is the blog about? Is it just about
it's very general. So it's called Terry's Takes. I left it wide open because I didn't want to limit myself or typecast myself into one avenue. Obviously sports would be, something that I could write about pretty much sleeping, but I think I wanted to keep it general enough to where my audience isn't limited to, just sports fans or just a fan of this. It's open and, obviously my primary focus has been on the book, so the blog has kind of just taken a backseat recently.
But is that how you kept in writing shape this whole time?
So the blog let me basically practice and keep putting pen to paper, and obviously online it allowed me to keep getting, mental reps in so I didn't get lazy or anything like that. And I am a perfectionist, so I guess it allowed me to continue looking at my own work and keep critiquing myself to get better every time. Yeah.
Let me see what I got here. Okay, did anything or anyone help bring this vision to life?
Well, my relationship with my parents, obviously my wife and my son, obviously supportive people like Joe in my inner circle. I just think that, I surround myself with people who hold me accountable, who expect the best out of me all the time and really won't settle for anything less. My son's getting some of that treatment now, so say a prayer for him. But, it's... And I told them about it on purpose because I knew that they wouldn't forget and they wouldn't let me slide.
Yeah.
And I think that when you surround yourself with people who have your best interests at heart and hold you accountable, it's almost impossible to fail because they won't let you. But it was a lot of my own drive, but at the same time, just keeping people around me that don't want to see me fail.
I like that too. I always feel like if you are the kind of person that focuses on actually achieving goals, once you put it out there, once you say it, you feel like you have to accomplish it.
You're responsible.
Right?
Yeah.
Hey, we're going to do this podcast.
You have the best of yourself.
Me and Cody are going to do this podcast, and you can't just talk about it. You have to do it.
You have to be about it.
Yeah,
right.
You are who you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
Eagles fly with eagles and crows fly with crows. You're only going to go as far as your circle takes you. Obviously you can be self-motivated, and that's great, but if you're not surrounded by the right people, it's too easy to fall off.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I know Joe only did the podcast because he wanted to get you on. So we appreciate both of you guys.
We appreciate it more than you guys.
He's a great guy because this is the shit he does for other people.
Yeah, right. This is my guy, man.
He's the best.
Yeah, Joe and I clicked from literally day one. Where I work and he frequents, we connected and we've become nothing short of friends. So it's just I feel that certain people make their way into your life on purpose, what I mean? And the older I get, the smaller my circle becomes, and I think that's on purpose too. he's never done getting better. And I figure why not surround myself with people who just, want to continue down the right path all the time.
Yeah, we talked about on Joe's episode about the world kind of showing you and exposing itself to you, like, hey, we're giving you a sign, we want you to do this. So you have to, and once you start realizing these experiences, you keep your eyes open for opportunities and you're kind of more ready for,
Yeah, I mean, obviously
to connect with somebody who's going to take you to the next level.
Yeah, and we have the decision to maintain our relationship and go separate ways, or do we keep people around like that because we know that our lives are ultimately going to be better because of it, And like I said, I don't think it's on accident. I think that him and I became friends because we're going to help each other to the next level.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, do you plan on writing more books?
I do. Obviously, I want to put my full time and attention into this one and see where I can take it because it's such a general message. I want to share it with as many people as I can. I have some good ideas for some second ones. Obviously, nothing's in stone yet because I want to keep it open and see how this one does. But yeah, I'm never satisfied. I was always taught that when you're satisfied, you quit trying, and that's not how I tend to do things. So there's definitely one coming down the pipe. Timeline and what it's going to be about is yet to be determined, but I'm definitely not satisfied.
Do you find it exhausting being never satisfied?
Yeah, I mean,
you ever take a break?
It's like, a double-edged sword for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's obviously like I have friends who sit back and say, hey, you're doing a great job, and you should be proud of what you're doing, and they're right. But at the same time, I'm nitpicking about, well, I could have done this better, so it's good and bad. You want to sit back and smell the roses sometimes, but you don't want to let yourself fall off. So it's kind of that battle of left and right all the time, trying to stay honest and stuff like that. So.
I always kind of equate it to climbing like a muddy hill.
Yeah.
Right? The minute you stop, you're going to slide all the way back down to the bottom, so you have no choice just to keep crawling.
Right.
Dig down. You just got to keep going.
Yeah, because you know what? There's too much competition.
You can't lose that momentum.
Right. Yeah, and again, I hate to keep, bring it back to my son and stuff too, but it's I can't preach to him, hey, you got to do X, Y, and Z, and you got to keep hustling if I'm not out here setting the standard on my own. You know what I mean? It's kind of hypocritical to say it and not do it. So I'm setting the standard for him for sure.
Yeah, we were talking, so we'll hit this right now. What's a quote that sticks with you?
Fortune favors the brave.
Okay.
I think that if I believe that everybody has the potential to be great. It's just whether are they willing to take the risk of failing. Mm-hmm. I was never afraid of that because again, I knew that once paper hit pen and I had physical copies, I had already won and I had already succeeded. But in my opinion, you have to be willing to take the risk of failure if you're ever going to get anywhere. And I think that's what separates the successful from the non-successful is just not being afraid to get up and go pursue what you want to do. I think that quote sticks because, the harder you work and the more risk you take, calculated risks, the better things seem to go for you.
Yeah, I was saying earlier, one that sticks in my head all the time is don't talk about it, be about it.
Yeah, 100%.
So you're kind of touching on that over and over again for your son, You can't just go out there and say like, I'm going to be an author. I'm going to write a book someday. Like, go do it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people want it, but not very many make it go happen, and that's what separates everybody. So, yeah, I mean, actions speak louder than words, as we know. So, again, just setting a standard and not being afraid to pursue what you want to do.
Yeah. So, moving towards the future, what do you see happening? Do you see maybe like a series for this same book, or do you think about going a completely different direction?
You know what? I didn't write it with the idea of going to number 2, like the Crosswalk 2 or anything like that. In my opinion, I don't obviously want to give too much away, but I do think that it should be standalone.
Yeah.
Because to be honest, if I would do a second one, it would just be to do a second one.
Yeah.
Not that I thought that not that I think the story needs to be told, but just like, hey, people want me to do a second one, so I'm going to go do a second one. If I thought that the story was like not wrapped up the right way and there wasn't enough closure, then I would probably continue. But anybody who has gotten the book and will eventually finish it, I think they'll understand that it ended the right way, and I think it's better to just go off into the sunset that way.
So if somebody wanted to buy the book, how do they buy it? They get a hold of you?
Yeah, so direct contact from me. And again, I'm exploring audiobook options and distribution maybe down the road. But right now I'm enjoying the one-on-one conversations I'm having with people. and the feedback when they read it and they get it and, you know, their world's changed, that's where my satisfaction comes from. So email's real easy. Terry D. Pitts, author at Gmail. Yeah, so anybody who's out of town that I can't make direct contact with, I can always ship.
How much are the books?
25.
Okay.
Yeah, 25 a copy.
Ship or
so with ship, I would obviously factor in some shipping costs.
Okay.
But 25 if it's local and we can hook up and I can get it to you. So, yeah.
How did you find like a publisher? How did you find somebody to get it to build the book?
Yeah, I mean it's so I went to bookbaby.com. I saved a lot of money by going through the headache of the formatting and all that stuff. Obviously, they're willing to do it for you, but I decided that I wanted my hands basically to be on every part of this other than the publishing itself. Mm-hmm. I wanted to have as much influence on this so I could say that it was truly my work and my design. But bookbaby.com, they were pretty helpful with the process.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I worked through the formatting issues and made sure it fit. And again, the cover's, you know, general on purpose. I didn't want to give away too much just from that.
Did you design the cover, or did you have like an outside artist?
Yeah, I got some images that, you know, I thought were going to work. And again, it's just the two on the front that kind of, you know, the symbolism makes sense as you read into the book. But I kept it general and like, there's nothing specific about the star. There's nothing specific about the antlers because, again, it's something that you'll pick up down the road in the book. But vague on purpose.
Okay.
You know, yeah. Bookbaby.com, that's the way to go.
Yeah, I wouldn't even know where to start. First of all, my pen wouldn't even touch the paper.
Hardest part's getting started. Yeah. That's it.
Do you have any authors that have like that you just love or you love their style? Do you read a lot?
You know, I do audiobooks a lot because as, you know, a busy guy multitasking, that seems to work well with what I have going on. I do like reading because I appreciate, you know, as a guy who appreciates writing and stuff, when somebody does it well, I have a big respect for that.
Real quick,
yeah.
Do you would you rather read like on your phone or actual book, like actual touchable?
Well, if I'm actually reading a physical book, that means I have free time, so I'm already, you know, pretty happy to just be sitting back and relaxing. I seem to retain information better via audiobook. Couldn't even tell you the reason behind it, but just hearing it as opposed to trying to comprehend it. I think that's probably the case for a lot of people, the feedback I'm getting. So that's why that is an avenue I'm looking into right now.
Yeah, I think life is just so crazy that if I have to drive a half an hour or an hour, I'd rather put in an audiobook and listen to it that way.
It's a good way to kill time.
Because I don't have a half an hour other than that to sit there with a physical book.
Yeah, who does, man?
Right?
Yeah, it's constant,
You started to say your favorite author. I interrupted you.
Oh, Jack London. Old school guy, but you know, the way he sets up scenes and, you know, his vivid descriptions of certain things is something that I've tried to, you know, obviously not go word for word on, but it's something that I feel that for you to get the full attention or the full attention of the reader and the full vision of what the book is, you got to know what you're looking at. And I think that he's done it, you know, probably better than anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna wrap things up. We're gonna go with we're gonna talk about you a little bit personally. Okay. Do you have a locked-in routine? Do you do the same things every day?
Yeah, I try to get up the same time every day. Obviously, just to get everybody out the door. You know, you kind of have to be. But yeah, I get up around the same time because a lot of the times I take care of my workout, you know, before the day really gets started, and that sets me up for a good day. So,
do you only have one kid?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is he in school right now?
He is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's kindergarten. Yeah. So he's obviously we're very involved parents. So you know we get involved in the extracurriculars and stuff and. I coach him in t-ball, so I'm the head coach of the team. So, yeah, as if I needed more on the schedule, you know what I mean? But, you know, it's the way I see it, I only get one shot to do this right. And, you know, he loves me whether I'm an author or not. Right. So, you know, I'm there for him. And my primary goal in life is to be the best father and husband I can be. Everything else is a side pursuit, you know what I mean? And then, but, yeah, the routine is big. You know, I'm usually... waking up around the same time, making sure we get a few minutes together in the morning. I get to work, and then if I haven't worked out yet, that's number one because that sets me up for clarity and positivity, doing things the right way the rest of the day.
Yeah, it's such a task for me to work out in the morning, but when I do work out in the morning, I feel like my day is already
positive
set. Like,
momentum.
You got the hardest thing. The hardest part of your day is out of the way. By 6, 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
The rest of the day is all downhill.
I'm the complete opposite. Like my workout is my treat.
Oh yeah,
that's my sanctuary.
Yeah. Oh, see, I mean,
so I like saving it for the end of the day.
I do enjoy it too. I mean, mine is obviously with everything going on. Like, you know, I'm a leader in pretty much every aspect of my life. So that's the one area where I can just, you know, really just be me. And not that I wouldn't be a leader there, but just I'm not, you know, accountable for anything. I could just go and be in my own space, and you know, it makes my day better. I tell you, I mean, if that's done already, I'm good to go. So.
I'll say this: I hate working out.
Yeah,
really?
Oh.
I absolutely hate it.
I'd be miserable without it, man. I'll tell you that. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Always say,
I didn't know you hated it.
roll a ball in front of me and tell me to go chase it. I'll chase it for an hour.
Yeah.
It could just keep rolling out forever, chase it. But put me on the treadmill, I'm bored to tears within 10 minutes.
Treadmill's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Lifting pretty bad.
Anything
outside,
is all heavy.
yeah,
It's
right.
just, it's a
You don't like
task.
lifting weights.
No, I don't.
You do it all the time.
I try to maintain, yeah.
He shows up, man. That's half the battle, you know?
I didn't know you were miserable at the
Yeah,
gym.
I'm absolutely miserable.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know what I'd do without it, to be honest with you. I mean,
I feel better.
yeah.
I do feel better.
Do you feel that way because you're not working?
No, I feel that way because I'd rather be doing anything else.
Just literally anything.
Yeah.
Just
If
laying on the couch. You'd rather just.
If I used to lift at the Y and there was a basketball court upstairs and it's just pulling me up there, like I'd rather go chuck up shots for
So
an hour.
sports stuff, but not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Did you lift in high school?
No. After I graduated, I started, putting some muscle on it.
Yeah.
It's such a thing I do now. I've been doing it for at least
It's
four
just a
times a
routine
week
for you now.
for the past
it's like waking up
14
brushing your
years.
teeth
So
or something like that.
when I
yeah.
don't do it, I feel like trash.
Oh, yeah.
But you feel like trash while you're there too.
Yeah, I do.
That trash is better, though.
Yeah,
that's better.
My wife always tells me, she goes, just go to the gym because you're making everybody here miserable. It's a long day for everybody when I don't get to work out, man. So they all know, they know the routine by now. So
Yeah. So glad I got that off my chest.
Yeah, everybody knows that now.
Okay, what are some hobbies you like to do?
Anything outside. Obviously, the gym is probably the reason I try to stay as dedicated as I am. It sets me up, mentally to be sharp and keeps me disciplined. You know what I mean? But I'm always pursuing something. If I'm not outside, I'm probably reading a book or something with my son. Getting him. There's always t-ball. There's always something that we could be doing outside, and getting him started into activities early sets up a good foundation for him. So, I was always told that if you never get out of shape, you never have to get back in it. So that's how we try to do things. Keep him active outside and starting good habits.
I'm teetering on the brink of that right now. Getting out of shape. That's why I try to go to the gym every day.
Yeah.
Metabolism is a real thing.
No doubt.
I'll just touch on this real quick. I listen to Jordan Peterson a lot.
Me too.
And he was talking about how you only have little kids for like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
It's like the most magical time. It's like
Every second counts.
just a complete magical time. So make sure you soak up all of that.
Yeah. It's you only get it once, like you said. So and these are real formative years for him. I don't know about you guys, but I remember vividly what I was doing at 6 and all the influences on my life. So. And I do think that, my father and I have a really good relationship too. And I think on top of the relationship with him and sports and stuff, teaching you discipline, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now without that in the beginning. And I want the same for him.
What a strong foundation your dad kind of created for you.
Yeah.
When you're trying to build.
Accountability, man.
Yeah.
If you don't just
It's
do
awesome.
things right. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to let you get out of here. I'm going to surprise you with this one. I don't think I
Okay.
sent it to you. What's your spirit animal?
I'm going to give the traditional one of lion.
Lion. Okay. We got 0 lions before today.
Really?
Yeah. Which is,
Okay. Yeah.
That's shocking.
Well, I have a tattoo of it as well, so
Okay.
I'm in the club. I'm
Do
with
I
you
have
as
to
far
get
as
one?
goes.
Is that
Be
yours?
in the inner circle? No,
You just need the line tattoo.
And I think
We'll have to go go.
Joe may have mentioned something similar. Is like, I have found myself in leadership positions. Just maybe it's just my personality, or just over the years that's how it's landed. But I take a lot of pride in protecting my family, being the leader of the family, and setting the example. So I would say it has a lot to do with that.
I'm going to turn this podcast upside down.
Okay.
Because there's a burning question I've been wanting to ask, and since this has been brought up quite a few times. Do you think leaders can be developed, or do you think you're born a leader?
I'll say develop.
You think so?
I was never. Growing up, I thought.
You don't think it's a born trait?
No. I thought the things that weren't going well for me were other people's influences on my life. You know, like the reason I didn't get picked for this or...
Right. I would agree, because I think that your perspective can change over the years where, you know, if you're not, like a 6-year-old doesn't know that he needs to go lead a group of other 6-year-olds. But if you're groomed in that way of thinking of saying, hey, listen, you have leadership potential, maybe it just takes one guy to come in and say, hey, you are capable of doing this. If you lead by example, which has always been my way of doing things. And I think that over time, you just need to see it work a couple times. Because I think that if you don't have a proof of concept and you keep being told that you can be a leader, but nobody follows you, I think you need to develop that from, you know, just years of proving that you can do it. But I think it can be learned over time.
Yeah, I feel like you can be born a leader, for sure.
So my opinion, what I think is you can be taught leadership traits.
Yeah.
And you can act those leadership traits out. But to actually have people follow you, I think that leader is a born leader.
That's a good point, because
Joe was saying how he always finds himself taking over.
Yeah.
And telling people, you know, this, that. That's his natural ability coming out.
Yeah. It's a tough one. If
we're
talking about...
Because I've been in a lot of positions where people that were in leadership roles, I feel like didn't have the skills that it takes to actually be a leader when it comes down to it.
Right.
Because when you get put in a position where the person that you're relying on needs to make a good decision and they can't make that decision, but they've had all the teaching, they've had all the classes, but they just can't put it together. That's where I think leaders are born leaders.
So maybe the middle ground is that you can show leadership attributes.
Yes.
But
yes,
and it may even go back to even just being born with the confidence to step up and act as a leader.
Yeah.
Because there are people that do it without any training.
Right.
They just say, this is what we're going to go do, and follow me, and we're going to do it.
Right.
So I think it's maybe somewhere in the middle.
Right.
I think that you can become a better leader.
Absolutely.
But maybe you're at the point where, you know, you're either going to be one or you're not.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right. You got anything else to add?
No.
You got anything to add?
No, I appreciate the support. Obviously, you know, I want everybody to hear this story. It's something I've worked on for a while, and anybody who wants to reach out, you know,
say the title again.
It's the Crosswalk.
Crosswalk.
Crosswalk. Yes.
Okay.
Obviously, you know, easiest way to get a hold of me to get a copy.
Facebook, you said?
Facebook, I'm on there. On Instagram, it's at Terry D. Pitts Author. And then my email is terrydpittsauthor@gmail.com.
Okay.
I'd love to hear from everybody. Like I said, I'm really enjoying the one-on-one interaction with people and getting it to them that way.
Do you have plans of maybe making it an audiobook?
Yeah, I'm actually looking into that right now. You know, I'm doing some research with ACX because they control the big three as far as, you know, audiobooks go. I'm looking, you know, I'm kind of skimming the market for a voice that I'd like to do it.
Yeah.
Not sure if it's going to be me or not. That's kind of to be determined, but I do think it'll eventually make its way there, because I think for me to reach the people I want to reach, I'm going to have to go that route.
Mm-hmm. What a difference the voice makes.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
From my experience, just sometimes you're listening to a book and the voice is just so.
You could have the best story, but if it's not the right voice, you're just going to lose them.
Yeah.
And then, do you ever think about maybe going for like a Kindle edition or like?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not closed off to anything.
What do they even call it? iBooks or ebooks?
Yeah, I would say ebooks.
I haven't read one.
I think that, you know, just from my experience, most of mine's done on like iTunes or something like that, because I think that's probably the trend, and that's where everything's going in that direction. So I do know that if you go with ACX, you have the option to be exclusive with them, or you could branch out into other stuff. So a lot of that's to be determined, but I do think an audiobook's coming in some form.
Okay, we'll have to do like a little update episode.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Yeah.
That would be cool.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, appreciate your time, guys. Thanks a lot.
And find Terry on Facebook, Instagram, and buy the book, The Crosswalk. We'll see you guys.
Thank you.